Hey, Ron Jones from Lean Berets, corporate Wellcoach and Kinesiologist. I'm doing a little shirtless demo on the scapular pull-ups and some of the other demonstrations just because I want people to see the musculature of the body, articulation of the joints. And really, the body's just fascinating when it's moving. We really see how everything works in unison together. But with the scapular pull-ups, I want to bring out a medical model of the scapula bone. We call it a shoulder blade in common language, but it's really an interesting part of the body. So I want you to see how this sits on the back. And so you can see that it just kind of fits like a cup. And remember that the scapula or shoulder blade slides on the back of the ribs. It's not immobile, it's actually quite mobile. It moves a lot. And what's really interesting about the scapula, it's really smooth, so it's like the inside of a clamshell, and it's designed to slip and slide, if you will. And the actual we call it, the shoulder socket isn't really a socket like the hip. If you look at the slight curve on the inside of that scapula bone, it really resembles a golf tee. So it's actually very shallow. So if you think of the shoulder joint more like a golf tee, you'll see a little more of a cup on the top, but a lot of that is soft tissue. So your arm, upper arm, moves in the shoulder socket, if you will, and your collarbone or clavicle actually articulates quite a bit too. So your upper arm, the scapula, shoulder blade, collarbone, or clavicle, they all move together, but they're not fused together and solid. So when we do those scapular pull-ups, we really want this bone to slide up and down on the ribs. So it's this motion. So in a way, you're like dislocating your shoulder and then just sliding this bone back down. And what you want to do is pull the scapula bones or shoulder blades down and into a V pattern and tighten that abdominal box in that gymnastics position. Remember, we're doing all this because those big lat muscles underneath your armpits that run down the back and start up here in the neck area are really the anchor points for the scapula. So the rotator cuff muscles, which are smaller, they help mate the surface of the upper arm or humerus bone into that socket so we don't get a shear force. We want to mate those surfaces and get them to match. So the rotator cuff muscles have an important job, but they really don't anchor the shoulder blade itself. And that lat group has a big part of the powerhouse for the shoulder. So we want to get those online and bend that bar and pop up above the bar, but not from the rotator cuff, from those big powerful lat muscles. So that's your scapula lesson for the day from the Lean Berets. Meet your lat and your scap and use them both to move well.
All right, we're going to mount the bar here. So one of the keys to starting a good scapular pull-up is to settle down on the bar once you hop up there. So try to eliminate that sway, settle down a little bit, and then it'll take you a rep or two to get your groove with these, but you want to go ahead and fully brachiate and dead hang, and then very carefully rock up without bending the elbow. So this isn't a gross movement pattern, meaning there aren't a lot of limbs flying all over the place, but you will be able to see some movement here if you watch carefully. So watch what's moving in my shoulders. You'll see those triangular bones sliding up and down. Look at which muscles are contracting. And I'm going to do a little bit of a protraction when I go down, and then a little retraction when I come up. And so here's a front view. So what you're going to see is me use that lat activation technique of bending the bar. It's going to turn on those lat muscles just a little bit more and get those online. This is an activation drill. I'm going to rock into my up position with this little C or gymnastics pattern and then power up over the bar with the full-on military pull-up. So I'm rocked up there. I've got my lats on and boom. There's where it happens. So remember this lat scapular pull-up technique won't just give you better pull-ups, but it's going to keep your shoulders much safer as well. It's a great technique to know to do a proper military pull-up. So here's a close-up view. So same thing. I'm going to settle down on the bar and then watch my shoulders and pay attention to what's sliding up and down. It's not a big movement, but a precise movement. So a set of 10 quality reps on a scapular pull-up is very good work. So I rarely do over 10, but I do the 10 very, very well. So as I come down and brachiate fully, I'm in a little retraction. As I come up, I'm doing a little bit of a protraction. So there's a little bit of rotation in the shoulder blades as well. Again, pay careful attention that your elbows do not bend and you keep your arms straight. So this is the scapular pull-up, activating those lats.